Welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. This is the only show that brings you awesome people just like you who got sick and tired of doing something they don't like and don't care about and have created an amazing life of freedom using what they know instead of just getting paid for what they do. And now, here's your host, the Quit Working guy, Jeff Steinman.
Hello everyone, welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. I am so excited because today we have Tonya and Justin Rekla. They are the founders of the Rekla Group, and they use their combined experience in the U.S. government counterintelligence to create a business called the Rekla Group that uses that knowledge to help entrepreneurs do due diligence on their businesses. Justin and Tonya, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about. I think it's so cool that you're doing this interview from your RV. It's right. It's exactly what everybody wants to do. They want to be mobile. They want to be able to do something that they love and that they think is cool from wherever the hell they are at any given time and wherever they want to be. So tell us a little bit about your business and how did you get from what you were doing as investigators to what you're doing now?
Well, Jeff, first, it's just a point of clarity. It's not our RV. It gets better than that. We actually have a minivan.
Oh, okay.
So we travel in our minivan,
Okay.
and we stay with friends, family, business associates, in hotels, wherever our business projects take us. So we're actually a little more flexible than even an RV.
Awesome. So an RV would tie you down too much.
Well, yeah, I think it might.
That is awesome. That makes you lifestyle snobs, and I love it.
Yeah.
We like to refer to ourselves as being digital nomads and location independent.
That is awesome. So tell us a little bit about the business that you run from the road.
Well, Tony and I are both former counterintelligence agents with the U.S. government.
Okay.
Tony used to work espionage cases, was part of a surveillance team, and my counterintelligence experience is with the Army over in Iraq and Afghanistan. We started up the business because we recognized that our skill sets are transferable to the business world, and we're both entrepreneurs at heart, and we wanted to be able to find a way to use our skill set to give back to the entrepreneur community and eventually give back to our tribe of vets and help bring them in transitioning to the business world.
Okay. So you worked as investigators, which meant at a high level you would dig around and find information on people who were doing bad things, and basically you've transferred that to now you do that same sort of investigation for small businesses. So tell us a little bit about who might hire you.
Well, anybody that's in business, whether it be a seasoned business owner to a brand new entrepreneur, we educate business owners on the importance of doing due diligence and having an evidence process in place that allows them to ensure that the dealings that they're getting involved with make sense and they are a good fit, and that they understand it's not just the paperwork or the financials that need to be in order, but it's deeper than that. It's bigger than that. It's the actual individual that they're getting involved with. When most business dealings go bad or most partnerships go bad, it's not because the paperwork wasn't in order. It's because the people behind the project had something going on or have a past that is shady or known for taking people's money and so forth. And so what we do is we educate business owners on the importance of doing your due diligence, having an evidence process in place, so you protect your business. A little bit of time and effort up front, it saves you time and money in the long run.
Sure. So when you say an evidence process, what does that mean?
Evidence process encompasses everything from critical thinking to intentional communication and to the actual due diligence steps. And so part of our whole premise is that if you go into a deal with your eyes closed, and you don't ask some of those critical thinking questions, those really hard questions even of yourself, like why am I so interested in this deal? Why this person? Those things, and then transfer that into your actual communication. So you're asking very pointed, very specific questions regarding the deal or regarding the person that you're getting involved with, so that you can then go into the due diligence process and do your veracity checks and do your searches and everything else, or hire someone else to do that for you. But it's truly empowering the business owner to stand in that position for their own business, as opposed to either one, ignoring it altogether, or turning it over to someone else to do for them.
Okay. So was there a point at which what went on in your heads as you were trying to figure out, all right, well, we're investigators, we're doing this kind of interesting work, but we're really entrepreneurs at heart. Was there a point, or how did you get mentally from we're working full-time for somebody else to, you know what, we're going to take these skills that we have and very creatively position and use them in our own business?
Well, it's really interesting. We started out with a different intent. We really, we're both teachers and trainers by nature and trade, and we love playing that role. And so our goal was to take all the training and all the skill sets that we had learned from the government and from the Army and turn it into valuable information for businesses. As we started to do that, we got a lot of people asking us to do this sort of work for them or to teach them how to do it. And we kept saying, no, we don't really do that anymore. That's not really our thing. And they kept coming to us, and we developed relationships with these people. And we recognized that there's a sincere need out there for people to not only get this information, but to have those services offered to them by people they can trust. And a lot of time it was just, it really came out of those networking business relationships, and that's how it started.
Okay.
So in short, business owners, it was the other business owners out there that, we made that connection, and that's,
okay.
If it wasn't for the business owners, our business would have never been born.
Okay. Well, and this unfolded for you in the best possible way, and that is that people started asking you for something, and then you said, okay, well, let's go. And now, in your business, and that's how the most successful businesses of this nature happen. And that's how my business was born, and just about everybody else. And how did you actually make that transition from those full-time jobs into your own business?
We, on some level, we actually kind of chucked it off, but we did take some consulting jobs, and luckily in our line of work, there's always a need for folks with good training and clearances. And so we were able to supplement somewhat, but that still wasn't good enough for us. Like, we really wanted ultimate freedom, and we couldn't have that if we were tied into anybody else's structure. And so, trust me, there were sleepless nights, there were gut level checks, there were all of that stuff that all of us who are trained to be employees go through.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we've had our severe gutter moments and our highs, and at the end of the day, it ultimately came down to how bad did you want it?
Yeah. Yeah. So do you find that you talked about kind of from the employee days and then the mentality in that, do you find that there's a whole different mentality that you have to have as an entrepreneur than you had as an employee?
Oh, definitely. One of our favorite sayings, and I get this from Tonya, is the easiest thing to do in the world is to have a job.
Mm-hmm.
When you need to be, where you need to be, when you need to be there, and what you need to do from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 every day, and you go in, do your tasks, and it's the easiest thing. Some people have low-paying jobs, some people have high-paying jobs, but it's structurally the same. As an entrepreneur, no one does it for you. You have to do everything yourself. Especially when you first get started, you're the CEO, you're the COO, you're the CFO, you're the laborer, you're the internet guy, you're everything, and you're the social media person, and it's a lot of work. So, being an entrepreneur, you give up your 40-hour-a-week job for your 80-hour-a-week job.
Sure. Yeah.
But as an entrepreneur, you have the freedom to be able to do that on your time.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's so much than that too. I like to joke that when I first left government work, I sat on the couch for 2 weeks and I had to realize what a crappy employee I was. Because now I'm a boss, and I was sitting there going, wow, I didn't realize just how unmotivated I was to do anything above and beyond what my job entailed. And there was no incentive for me to do that.
Yeah.
And I really do a serious soul check on that one and ask myself if I was ready for that. And it's the process that you go through transitioning into entrepreneurship is a very personal development, spiritual development, whatever you want to call it. It's bigger than simply changing your career.
Yeah.
You have to really, 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 really want this, and you have to be willing to look at all of your ego issues and fears and everything else smack dab in the face, or you won't make it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I always like to say it's the best therapy I've ever received. It's a huge self-discovery process, and particularly, when you're putting yourself out there, and you're really putting yourself and your own expertise, because you guys are pretty much the face of your company and everything that you do, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I have my own platform. I have a book out on Amazon, and I do teaching and trainings mostly for women on personal safety, awareness, empowerment, that type of stuff. And it is, the second you hit a wall, you have to take responsibility or you're not getting through it.
Yeah.
And it's really, it's quite an endeavor.
Yeah. So what portion of your business is spent teaching people or educating people or providing information for people versus actually doing things for people?
It's probably a good mix. Matter of fact, we just launched our new our membership site.
Okay.
That allows people access to our information. That allows people access to a monthly calls with us and our mastermind team, to where they can tap into our resources and our experience and be able to use some of these techniques that we know that we would do for them, but on their own.
Okay.
So a large portion of what we do is the education piece. Even for the people that we sit on their boards for in an advisory position, most of the advising we do is from an education standpoint on what kind of questions they need to be asking, being able to identify some of the red flags in the language patterns of the individuals that they're involved with. So the actual work itself, us doing the research and doing the due diligence, is probably only about 25% of what we actually do. Most of it is education.
Okay, and that's what
really. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was just gonna say that's what lifestyle is all about. Go ahead, Tonya.
I was going to say it's really our goal is really to empower business owners to do a lot of it on their own. I think because of our backgrounds, there's a lot of mystique around who we are and what we do, and part of it is just breaking all of that down and saying, you can do most of this on your own. There are some levels just because of our investigative skills that we will reach that other people might not. But all of the preliminary work, a lot of times people will find that if they just do the steps we teach them, they never need to hire us because they find out information on their own. Our proudest moments is when our clients call and they're like, well, I had this person, but I found out this, and so I decided not to go with them. It's like, awesome, you've been listening. And so, because we can't help everybody.
Well, and honestly, part of that comes from a selfish perspective on our part of, I don't want to be spending 80 hours a week doing research.
Yeah.
So, and not only that, but if we can educate our client on how to do some of the basic stuff, then should they get to a point where they do need to hire us to do the actual work, it's going to save them a lot of money and a lot of time because they've already done the footwork. And so we're not starting at point A, we're starting at point, we're starting at point Q.
Sure.
So it saves them money as well. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So now, coming from government jobs, which everybody perceives those as being very secure and very safe, and going now to having your own business and being independent, do you feel more or less secure now?
Wow, that's an amazing question. I think that if we can get a little philosophical for a second, I think that the process of detachment, I would say, is the most important and the most difficult process of this entire thing. And once you learn what you truly need, what you don't need, what you're willing to do without, what I think a lot of times we've all been socialized with this false sense of security.
Mm-hmm.
And what people are finding now is the rugs being pulled out from under them is that those aren't secure jobs. They're not necessarily guaranteed fun and leisure in their retirement. And so I think it's just gotten to the point where people just don't trust that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the scariest yet the most amazing feeling in the world when you think, you know what, I just don't need that.
Yeah.
And,
Freedom.
it is.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate freedom is when you can detach from anybody else's concepts about what you should do and should have in your life. And we struggle with that a lot as parents. Our 3-year-old daughter travels with us.
Okay.
And we always, people are always giving us advice about what she needs in her life. And ultimately it just came down to, we are the authority in her. And so it is up to us to listen to her and to understand what her needs are and to do our own due diligence with regard to her and to not accept status quo just because it's been that way for a while. That doesn't make it right. And so it is such an amazing experience. That's why we encourage everybody we know to go through it.
Yeah.
But it certainly is a journey.
What would you advise someone for getting through the detachment process? And by detachment process, I want to be clear for our listeners, what you're talking about is detaching yourself from that idea that I need to have a corporate or government or somebody else to give me a job and support me, and changing to being like, no, I have within me, in my brain, all the skill sets and everything that I need to support myself. And what's some advice you'd give folks to doing that detachment process?
I learned this a while back. It's a really amazing and easy thing you can do. What happens is when you have a fear come up, like let's say someone's like, well, I have to have a job. You say, okay, well, why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because of this. Okay, well, if you don't have that, what happens? Okay, well, if I don't have that, and usually it's I can't pay my bills. Okay, if you can't pay your bills, then what happens? I mean, you talk to any entrepreneur, trust me, there's been a time when they couldn't pay their bills.
Yep.
And, okay, then what happens? Well, then I won't have a home. Okay, well, first of all, is that accurate or is that just a fear? Like, you really know the legalities around it and really breaking all of that down. And once you get to the heart of almost every single fear, it comes down to survivability. And we all have some concept of what we need in order to survive. And if you're willing to take that journey through just those simple questioning techniques of, okay, then what? Okay, then what? Then what? And you break it all the way down. It's like, okay, so basically I'm telling myself, if I don't have a job, I will die. And when you see it from that perspective, it's like, okay, that's a bit ludicrous. Like plenty of people don't have jobs in their lives. But we don't recognize that those are the kind of threads and baggage that we carry with certain concepts of who and what we are.
Okay.
And so that's a little trick you can use. And it's almost always, I haven't come up with a single fear from anybody that doesn't come back to, I'm going to die. I mean, that's literally the kernel of every single one of those. And once you accept that, I think Steve Jobs has an amazing quote out there. I think that once you get over the fact that you're going to die, now you can start living or some such thing. And so it's a powerful way to live your life.
And the thing that just recently came to me this week, I saw it floating around the internet somewhere, is in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to unlearn what you've learned and be willing to relearn new lessons.
What's an example of something that you had to unlearn?
Oh, wow.
Like 20 a day.
Yeah, we're still unlearning. Unlearning as we go. There's so many different things that pop up on a daily basis.
I got a good one.
Good.
Asking.
Oh, okay.
Asking. There's an amazing TEDx talk out there right now that we sent to all of our network, and it's really getting around. And it's about the art of asking. And as employees, as whatever, majority of us were raised to not ask for things, not ask for help, not ask for whatever, and it's really an amazing concept when you start getting very, very clear about what you need or what you want, and then asking people for it. And people are amazing. People ultimately want to serve. They want to help you. Especially if it's a project they believe in. And the other piece of going back to your original question about the detachment is find a network, find a group of people who are doing the same thing you are, or who are doing what you want to do. Find a group of entrepreneurs, find people who have done it, find business owners, because those are the people who are going to go, yep, I get it. Yep. We all have this unspoken language between us, and they're the ones who are going to help you see kind of the insanity behind some of your preconceived notions about how life works.
There's a lot of different networks out there. we happen to have a huge support network. It's an organization called CEO Space.
Oh, okay.
And
I've heard of them.
it's a phenomenal organization that has got so much going on, and it's not just a networking event. It's literally a community, a church per se of entrepreneurs, and everybody speaks the same language. Everybody at some point in time has shared an experience, and so it's a great network to be able to fall back on. So going out there and doing it on your own, we've tried that.
Yeah.
We've tried that, and it's dang near impossible. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's a lot easier if you've got a support mechanism and people that have been there, done it, or going through it themselves to be able to fall back on.
Okay, cool, very cool. So, would you recommend someone get involved with CEO Space?
Yeah, we actually teach there.
Yeah, we're actually on faculty there. It's
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's anybody that's looking to build relationships, get the entrepreneurial education that we don't get in school, the lessons on how to structure a business, planning, strategy, marketing, everything that new entrepreneurs, that especially people that are leaving their jobs that have no experience in it, or maybe just dabbled in it a little bit because they put something on eBay, don't necessarily have the experience. They can go to CEO Space and they're going to meet the people that have the experience. And what's amazing about it is they meet 5 times a year, and while you're at forum, there's no selling. No selling throughout the entire week. The experts, the faculty, nobody's allowed to sell anything. It's all about brain timing. It's all about giving, sharing your experience, sharing your knowledge, and looking at your fellow entrepreneur and going, how may I be of service? And asking that. And when you go there with the mindset of, I'm just going to share my knowledge and share my experience, you get in return back what it is you need.
Sure.
Right? So it's amazing. So CEO Space is literally, it's a conglomerate of experts, people that are living the expert life.
And just as an example, the majority of the people that we stay with outside of our family are from that network.
Oh, okay.
So we build with them. They share their homes with us, and we're raising our daughter in that community. They respect her. She's got her own business card. She networks.
That's awesome.
Doing that for a year now. And one of our good friends described it as the business family he never knew that he wanted. And so it's really much more than just the skill sets. It's as you're going through that self-development, as you're going through that personal journey that can be so daunting, you've got people to say, I've been there. I can hold your hand through this. Let's do this together. And it's collaborative. Yeah,
that's so cool. Now, so your daughter is 3. So what are your plans? Is that the only child you have?
I actually have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. They live with their mother in Phoenix. So we spend a lot of time in Phoenix as well. That's the main hub. Okay. So we get back and spend time with them as well.
Okay. She's the only one who travels with us full time.
She travels with us full time.
Okay. So what are your plans when it gets time for school to start with your daughter?
Homeschool.
Yeah, she'll never see.
She'll never see the inside of a public classroom.
That's awesome.
Let me just say, Justin and I both matriculated through public schooling. I have a master's degree in education. I mean, we turned out just fine. For her, I think the world's changing, and we have this opportunity to socialize her in a way so that she doesn't have to go and retrain herself and unlearn. That she's going to be able to learn it right, learn it by our bias, learn it right the first time. And that's really an empowering thing. We're already seeing things come out of her in words that she's using and ways that she goes, we take her to go play at playgrounds, and she'll bring her friends over to introduce them to us, and she instructs them that they're supposed to shake hands and say, nice to meet you. And so she's a networker. Like she's all connecting. So, she shares that everywhere she goes. So it's pretty powerful to watch that.
It's so cool because when you think about if you gave the tools like you're giving to your daughter to children at a young age, they can do so much more with them, then they can do like the three of us did, which is going through the traditional and then having to do all of that unlearning. And I love how you said it's about unlearning, because you're so right, because it's like most of my education has not been about learning how to do things, but learning how not to do things and unlearning that whole mentality, that whole job mentality.
Yep.
And that's so fascinating. So I applaud you, and I hope I've actually talked to a couple people who are actually home in similar situations, who are homeschooling their kids from the road, just like you are. I knew that was going to be your answer, but I had to ask the question. And I hope you all get together and write a book about that. You know, when the kids make their first million, which will probably be by the time they're like 10.
Yeah.
At this rate. So that's awesome. I love that. I don't have kids, but I think that's if we're going to change the way this world works, that is where we have to start.
You'll have to connect us with them. We actually, it's amazing the underground network that goes on once you start doing this kind of thing. And then, we also blog about it. It's called the Traveling Fairy Tour.
Oh,
so
cool.
Blog and put pictures where, of her, and we've got our Facebook page, but that she goes around and tells people, I'm the traveling fairy, please go to my website. And it's like, I'll share a quick story with you. I think you'll appreciate this. When we were at our girlfriend's house, who we stay with a lot in Phoenix, and I just looked at her, our daughter's name is Neva, and I said, Neva, what are you going to do to make money? She goes, well, and mind you, we did not plant these seeds. This was the time we talked to her about it. And she said, I can draw pictures. And I said, okay. I said, well, who do you think's going to give you money for that? And she points to my girlfriend, and she's like, Auntie. And I was like, and I just started laughing. And then I said, okay, well, what else can you do? And she goes, well, I can sell clocks. I said, well, where are you going to get the clocks? And she goes, right there. It was, and all you can do is applaud her for the ingenuity. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we should make our own clocks and not take them from people. But, it's a good thought. So it was hilarious.
What are some of the things in your business that you get help with from other people, like contractors or employees or things like that?
Marketing.
Oh, okay.
Social media.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we call social media the necessary evil of doing business anymore.
So true.
It's I mean, and you have to stay up on it. You have to be present with it, and we enjoy it to a degree, but it's incredibly time consuming. Mm-hmm. And there is such a methodology and a formula about it. A good person who's willing to help you with that is worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's a big thing, because we, if we spend all of our time tweeting, we couldn't do what it is that we do.
We're not going to be able to teach so I mean, right now we're doing all our own social media. So typically I don't get to bed till 2:00 in the morning.
Okay.
So because usually what happens is I spend all night getting caught up on our social media stuff, writing blogs, posting the blogs, putting stuff on LinkedIn, in every place, and prepping for the next morning. So I hit all my nightly stuff. I've set my morning stuff up. So first thing when I wake up is I can fire off all the stuff for the next morning, and it takes up a good, easy 6 to 7 hours of the day for me. Fortunately, I'm able to do it on my own time, and it's usually after the family's in bed, but it's very time consuming, but like she said, it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
With
the way the world works nowadays.
Yeah.
And then of course the professionals, like a phenomenal CPA, an attorney, those folks.
Business strategists.
Okay.
By all means, the best things you can do for yourself is find a business strategist that resonates with you, understands what it is that your company and your business does, and what your vision is. They are going to take so much weight off of your plate to be able to guide you as to what you need to do. You are going to get you from point A to point B so much faster with your business by hiring that business strategist.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think as entrepreneurs, we'll swim in our brains forever, and we will question ourselves, we'll doubt ourselves, we'll go. Justin and I have each other, so at least we can bounce ideas off of each other. So when you have a partner, it's really helpful. But then we'll just swim around in our ideas, and ultimately there are areas of our business that we simply don't know. Mm-hmm. We just don't know how to do it, and we can't be an expert in everything. Yeah. And so learn to really delegate that stuff is huge.
Yeah.
It is. And it's trust. It's a trust thing. So always wait and find that person you resonate with. Don't just take the first person you see. Obviously, do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Have an ethics process.
Yeah.
But that's, be on the lookout. Set your intention for what you want and be on the lookout for that.
And if you don't have a partner or a wife or a husband to be able to reflect back to you some of the things that you're going through, find somebody that gets it and that can highlight what the term we use in CEO space is fear storm.
Okay.
If you're having a fear storm and all those old thoughts and all that old training's coming back to the surface and now you're stuck in your head of, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh my God, this and so forth. You've got somebody to be able to reflect back going, okay, stop. You're going through a fear storm right now. These are just nothing but fears.
Yeah.
And stop, talk about them, work through them, and get back on track. Tony and I are able to do that for each other. So that's another key is whether it be somebody that you're working with or a business coach or a mentor or just a good friend that understands what it is you're going through, by all means.
Sure.
Somebody that can reflect back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the services I offer through my platform is that awareness mentoring and kind of mirroring to people, okay, you're not being congruent with, what you say it is that you want, what you've designed, so why it is that these things are coming up and really helping and reflecting back to people the truth behind what it is that they're saying or thinking.
Yeah. Now you mentioned, Tonya, that you have a book that's available. What's that called?
I do. It's called WAR, stands for Watch, Assess, React.
Okay.
It's the ultimate guide to personal power and safety.
Okay.
And I write under the it's published under the name Tonya Dawn, D-A-W-N.
Okay.
So it's on Amazon and paperback and Kindle.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll include a link to that as well.
Yeah.
To the Amazon site. Well, so what is the biggest piece of advice before we wrap up? What's the biggest piece of advice or the most important thing that you would want someone to know who wants to do this for themselves?
I would, for me, it would be find something that you're passionate about and you're good at and go out and take that information and share it with the world, because for me, it's all about initiating that change and helping people rediscover themselves and getting passionate about what it is you do. Because without that, you're gonna filter and falter between every new opportunity or idea that comes back on, and you're not going to create anything. It's about finding that focus, finding that passion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe to sum it up, seek clarity.
Okay.
To continually seek clarity, and it's so many layers of that, and continually, like the best thing you can do for yourself is be very, very clear about what you want, how you want it to look, and to continually peel the onion layers back so you get to that point.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, where can we go to get more information about you guys and your company?
You can go to the website. It's Recla Group, RECLA Group, GROUP.com. And you can get more information on Tonya's platform at TonyaDawn.com.
Tony, D-A-W-N?
TonyaDawn.com.
Gotcha. TonyaDawn.com. We will link that up in the notes below. And I thank you guys so much for being with me. I appreciate your time. This has been a blast. You've brought some really cool perspectives from the RV that you're staying in. And I know it's not yours because an RV would just tie you down way too much. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for that. So that's awesome. I appreciate your time and the best of luck with everything with you guys. And we'll definitely stay in touch.
Thanks, Jeff. Good luck to you, too.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.